Hello and welcome to another Steps of Sussex live channel episode. And today we have something really special to talk about. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, has released a video message. Now, if you didn't know, today, July the 1st, is the occasion of what would have been... hang on. I had my sound up. There we go. Let me start again. So July the 1st would have been the occasion of Diana's 59th birthday, which of course is a very sad occasion for William and Harry and, Diana's family, the Spencers in general. Thinking back to these sorts of events like the anniversary of her passing, the anniversary of her birthdays, what would have been her birthdays, it's that kind of time in the year when you reflect on your own feelings and thoughts. So, what better way to mark the occasion than to speak to the Diana Award, or speak on behalf of the Diana Award. Now, if you didn't know, the Diana Award was a charity, was part of the ongoing legacy of Diana, Princess of Wales, which helps millions of people across the world in the name of Diana. By the way, people are just dropping in here on the live chat, so hello to everyone who has just dropped in. So I want to talk about that video message. I did post that video message here on the channel, so if you have not seen the full version, do go to the video prior to this one, watch it, and then of course come back. So in this video message, Prince Harry has addressed the Black Lives Matter movement in a virtual speech. Obviously, in-person engagements are few and far between in terms of the royal sphere, and in particular where Harry and Meghan are at the moment in LA. So virtual video messages are still the vehicle to be able to get messages out there and across. And this is in honour of the annual Diana Awards. Now, of course, mass gatherings cannot take place, so obviously the Diana Awards ceremony this year will not be taking place in physical form, but I do believe that they will probably still go on in some kind of form regardless. So, yes, it was a surprise message, and it took place, as I said before, on what would have been Diana's 59th birthday. And of course, she passed away, sadly, at the age of 36. I mean, where have all of those years gone? So yes, this was part of the annual ceremony that highlights the UK youth who continue the late princess's charitable legacy. It took place on what would have been her 59th birthday. Also, I did check, if you go to the Diana Award YouTube channel, they have posted some of their ceremony, so do go and check that out. I might repost it here on the community page. So Harry said, "I am so incredibly proud to be part of these awards as they honour the legacy of my mother and bring out the very best in people like you. You are doing such incredible work at a time of great uncertainty. You have found the power and inspiration inside you to make a positive mark on the world, and I love that the Diana Award is able to help you do it. I know that my mother has been an inspiration to many of you, and I can assure you that she would have been fighting your corner. Like many of you, she never took the easy route or the popular one or the comfortable one." Now, when he said that, I couldn't help but think that he was kind of almost comparing what he and Meghan have done in terms of not the easy route, maybe not the popular one with everybody, maybe not the comfortable one, but she stood for something, and she stood up for people who needed it. Right now, we are seeing situations around the world where division, isolation, and anger are dominating as pain and trauma come to the surface. But I see the greatest hope in people like you, and I'm confident about the world's future and its ability to heal because it's in your hands. He also went on to mention the Black Lives Matter movement, which is taking place currently across America and the world, and how he and Meghan feel that their respective generations haven't done enough to dismantle institutional racism within the United States and around the world. And he did mention that specifically. So although Harry and Meghan are no longer currently working royals, since of course stepping down from being full-time working royals, they do remain members of the royal family, and the only members of the royal family who have spoken out regarding the current fight for equality in the States and around the world. Harry went on to say, "My wife said recently that our generation and the ones before us haven't done enough to right the wrongs of the past." So obviously that is what Meghan and Harry have been speaking about behind closed doors. He said, "I too am sorry. Sorry that we haven't got the world to a place you deserve to be. Institutional racism has no place in our societies, yet it is still endemic. Unconscious bias must be acknowledged without blame to create a better world for all of you." He added that he and Meghan remain committed to being part of the solution and to being part of the change that you are all leading. So before handing over the microphone, he concluded, "Now is the time, and we know that you can do it." He also spoke about the selection process, and he mentioned, I think it was 5 individual people who are inspiring within the Diana Award, and he did say that he had worked with William. He mentioned his brother, my brother, I think was the words he used, in selecting these people for the award. So it almost also goes to show that behind the scenes we do not know what's going on, and it's as I've been saying for a very, very long time, all these stories about fallings out. Yes, we know. Harry said in the African documentary that that he and his brother have had their difficult times. And although people have been speculating, because of articles that they've been reading in the mainstream media, what other people have been saying on vehicles like YouTube, other YouTube channels, people have been forming their own opinions without actually knowing exactly what's going on behind the scenes. None of us do. But it turns out that Harry has been working with his brother William behind the scenes. Does this signal that things are improving? There was a report a couple of months ago saying that since Harry has been in LA, since stepping back, since moving overseas, that his relationship has improved with William. And I think it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make for any good narrative to keep pitting brother against brother or Duchess against Duchess. It's nonsense. And there are YouTube channels out there that keep spewing their own opinion as fact. And I think what we need to do is just look at what Harry has been saying here today. Perhaps things are healing. Perhaps wounds that were at one time raw are healing. That is a good thing, and we should all be celebrating that things behind the scenes are looking a little bit more rosy. If not, we don't know. They may have had a good heart-to-heart and things are sorted. We don't know, but it makes no odds to keep pushing out all of these different narratives, and every reporter or every YouTube channel seems to have some kind of bias or narrative going on there. And I'm sick and fed up of it, and I know that you guys are as well. And of course as well, on the occasion like today, Diana's birthday, William and Harry must be feeling it. Like I said at the start of this video, it's at these occasions when we take time to step back and actually view our relationships with ourselves, with each other, with our friends, with our family, and it really drills down into what matters. And I think that family is always family. You can't choose your family. Sometimes you can choose your friends. You can choose, sometimes your friend's family, but you only do have one family. And yeah, I don't think that that putting out these narratives is the right thing to do. Anel says you cannot reference tabloid and then say it's gossip. Well, I can, because I can. More often than not, there are so many stories out there, and a lot of them, in particular, the last couple of weeks, where we've had. I mean, there was another new book that's going to come out, Royals at War. I mean, I was like, oh my goodness, not another one. So there's about 5 books. You know, Lady Colin Campbell's book is out. There's probably about another 4 to come up until November. There are so many leaks and quotes and tabloid gossip coming from quotes from those books, some of which I've already proven to be inaccurate. You know, I already found an inaccuracy on page 2 of Lady Colin Campbell's book. I think that just about says everything about that book. But I'm fed up of it. I'm fed up. I'm sick and tired. I'm sure you all are. I'm at the point now where I actually really don't want to talk about what the tabloids are saying. You know, because they don't know exactly what's happening. So yeah, I can talk about them because that's what people are talking about. And sometimes it takes for someone to stand up and just kind of point out the inaccuracies, and hopefully people sometimes find that useful. MSNB 2012 says we all need to be supportive of both Harry and William, especially on Diana's birthday. Yes, and of course in August we have the anniversary of her sad passing, and I spoke about this on my other channel a little bit earlier in a live chat that I did. You know, it's unlikely that Harry will get to visit Diana's gravesite on this occasion. I mean, it's not known whether Harry and William and their families visit every single year, but we know that periodically they do. There were reports, I think maybe 3 years ago, about possibly William and Harry and Catherine taking George to go and visit. I mean, again, these are private occasions. We don't know exactly when they take place, but it is believed that periodically the brothers and their families do visit. Meghan may have already visited while she was in the UK. We do not know, but it seems kind of likely that perhaps Harry would want to share a special place like that with Meghan. So we don't know quite when they are going to be able to get to visit again, especially with all what's going on at the moment in the world. So we do have to think about both brothers equally when it comes to occasions like this, when it involves their mother. Maddie says, rest in peace, Diana. Her legacy will continue, shine, and show future generations what a strong woman can do. Pray that William and Harry will continue your legacy. They are already doing that. You know, William and Harry with the Diana Award, Harry with HIV and landmines, William with homelessness. They are continuing the work. That work is being continued. It is ongoing and it is good work. Right, what I'm going to do now is talk about some stories that happened a few days ago, but I still want to visit those stories. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about anyway. But this is from June the 28th, and it's about Meghan speaking to a young woman who was the victim of an alleged hate crime. So Meghan connected with Althea Bernstein, an 18-year-old woman of colour whose assault is being investigated by the police. So we have to be careful with the language that we use whilst it is an ongoing investigation. So Meghan and Harry, we know, have obviously had to delay the launch of Archewell this year. We think that they are going to concentrate on Black Lives Matter and COVID-19, and the effects of both on matters and issues and charities and organisations of which they feel close to. Like I say, that was rumour about 2 weeks ago that Harry and Meghan were going to concentrate on these issues. And there was a lot of noise saying, that hasn't been officially announced. But what Prince Harry came out and said today almost kind of justifies that, because they are going to be working on the issue of institutional endemic racism. So I think you have to be careful, because sometimes things come out that have a basis in truth and we don't know where they're coming from. So that's why, going back to the earlier comment in this video, that's why it's important to talk about sometimes the tabloid gossip, because sometimes it may have a basis in truth. But as long as we're very careful in making sure that we know that something hasn't actually been confirmed. But I think what Prince Harry spoke about today kind of shows that they are going to be doing work with regards to the Black Lives Matter movement. Anyway, Meghan made a personal phone call to Althea Bernstein, who was allegedly the victim of a horrifying hate crime, per the Wisconsin outlet Channel 3000. Althea told authorities that she was in her car at an intersection on Wednesday when she heard someone yell out a racial slur. Then 4 white men approached her, allegedly, and one of them sprayed what is believed to be lighter fluid on her face and threw a flaming lighter at her through the open car window, burning her skin. I mean, yeah, I've seen the photos. I mean, again, we have to be careful of the language that we use. We have to use alleged whilst this is going on, but those wounds did not just happen. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, the president of the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County, Michael Johnson, connected Bernstein with Meghan for a 40-minute phone call, where Meghan talked about the importance of self-care and allowing herself to heal. And she applauded her for the way that she responded and pretty much said, "Hey Michael, give me her cell phone number. I want to stay in touch, and let me know when you want me to come back, and I'll talk to the people in Wisconsin." So I think that is a really remarkable thing for Meghan to do with a terrible situation. I mean, that is horrifying. That is a really horrifying situation, most definitely. Prince Harry also joined the call for 10 minutes, according to Michael Johnson. So he actually tweeted saying, on the phone with Prince Harry and Meghan, Prince Harry shared that the young people voices matter, and Meghan has agreed to talk with girls in Wisconsin, and we will be scheduling that soon. Thank you for caring. He also said that Harry reinforced his belief that young people's voices must be uplifted and listened to. And the Sussexes continue to make it clear that despite stepping down as senior royals, they're still very much committed to issues of social justice. And like I say, that is an absolutely horrifying thing to have to be talking about. I mean, I can't believe that would happen. It's absolutely disgusting. I agree with V, who says, when I first heard about what happened to the beautiful young lady whose face was burned, I cried. Such a senseless act of hatred it was. It was absolutely terrible. And she continues, I'm sure the young lady was encouraged by the call from Meghan and Harry. But horrifying, absolutely, completely horrifying. And I really hope that justice plays out with this. I also want to talk, before I go, about Prince Harry showing support for a new HIV awareness initiative. So going back, obviously, to Princess Diana. Now, we know that Princess Diana, she tried to destigmatise the issue of HIV. She famously was photographed shaking the hands of a sufferer of HIV, and she made a speech as well, saying that, that it's okay, you aren't going to catch anything from touching someone or hugging someone with HIV, and she said, God knows, they need it, they need a hug. So Diana famously tried to tackle the stigma. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, has picked up that baton and has been carrying on with that work. So he has sent an encouraging message to tackle HIV and with an organisation that works to eliminate the everyday stigma surrounding the virus. And I think it's pretty horrifying that even today that there is still stigma. So Harry sent a message of support to his friend Gareth Thomas, a Welsh rugby player, regarding the new HIV initiative, Tackle HIV. That's what it's called. So the programme has been spearheaded by Thomas and aims to show people the everyday realities of living with HIV in the year 2020 and erase the social stigma that still surrounds the virus. The Tackle HIV Instagram account, do go check it out, posted the Duke of Sussex's message of support, and it reads, it has been amazing to see how much progress has been made in the fight against HIV. Since I started campaigning on this issue, I have been honoured to spend time with the people who are leading this charge, I should say. I think I need these glasses. Thanks to them, we have moved from a time of social panic and hatred to a time when the public come out into the streets to cheer for Gareth, a man living openly with HIV, as he cycled the length of Britain. But this progress hides how far we have still to go. Stigma, misunderstanding and discrimination remain the greatest barriers to defeating this virus. I hope everyone is inspired by Alfie and will support him and the Tackle HIV campaign to improve understanding of it and better support people who are living with it. So the organisation has said, thanks to them, we have moved. That was what Harry said. So the article is just repeating what was said. So yeah, very, very important work that Harry is doing, picking up that baton that Diana started all those years ago. I think it was something like 1986 when she visited hospitals who were dealing with some of the HIV patients, and she sat by the bedside, she shook hands, she hugged, and Prince Harry most definitely is taking on that work. Kathy G says, when one hears a racial slur or any shouting, you look around to see where it's coming from. You don't automatically roll up your window. So yeah, just great work from Prince Harry. Now, I don't think there was anything else that I had on my list to talk about. So over to you guys. If you have any questions or anything that you'd like me to talk about for the final few minutes of this live chat, do let me know. Get typing furiously. So whilst you're typing anything that you want me to mention or speak about, I will mention my Patreon. So I shared a link to Patreon on the community section. Basically, what I've done is rebrand my whole Patreon. It was before called Royal Reviewer Patreon. That is no longer the case. It is now Elliot YouTube. And I recognised basically that when I first started Patreon, I only had one channel. It was Royal Reviewer. Since then, I have Steps of Sussex and I have Elliot and Matt's British Life. So a little bit like an umbrella foundation. I wanted my Patreon to include all of these channels: Steps of Sussex, Royal Reviewer, Elliot and Matt's British Life. So it made no sense to me to create a brand new Patreon for every single channel. So if you want to support beyond watching the videos, and Patreon is different to channel memberships, then please check out the link to my Patreon, and I will post it in the live chat. There's also a link, there should be, in the description, and there is also a little Patreon icon on the main page of the Steps of Sussex as well. Also, you can find the link in the community page too. So do go and check that out. The benefits are different. I do a weekly live chat every Thursday. It's patrons only, 7 p.m. GMT, and you are more than welcome to join. Right, let's see if there are some comments. So, right, I'm trying to read. Louisa says, talking to Kathy, is it true that we can easily freeze from fear? I'm remembering an experience non-racist that my sister and I endured. We were terrified and raced indoors before we were attacked. Yeah, I mean, I know you're continuing a conversation, but yes, people deal with things in different ways. Kathy G says, will I ever wear my royal clothing again? Maybe on special occasions. I wore it for Trooping the Colour. I dressed up for Royal Reviewer, my live chat with regards to Trooping the Colour. But hey, I think I'm looking quite smart. I'm wearing shirts. So if you look at my outfit, I'm wearing a nice shirt. Short sleeve because it's been quite hot here in the UK. By the way, it is also Canada Day, so I'm wearing my replica Canadian maple leaf brooch, and we have the Canadian flag in the background, just in case you were wondering why. Have I finished reading Lady C's book? No, I'm still on page 2. No, I haven't. I'm still on page 2, and do you know what? Like I've said earlier on in this video, I am fed up with all the different things coming out of these books. I really am. So no, I had a bit of a quiet couple of days where I tried to stay away from all of the toxicity that was there. And I'm sure you've all had occasions where you've needed to step back a little bit from social media, from reading things in the tabloids. And what you have to appreciate, for me, is that a lot of my job is trying to, well, what I see my job as being, is tackling a lot of inaccuracies, which means that I have to read this stuff. I have to read the books, I have to read the articles, and it can get you down. It can really, really get you down. It can drag you down. I don't like reading them, but I have to know about them to be able to find the inaccuracies contained within and then to be able to talk about it. So, yeah, it got me down. And over the last couple of days, I haven't done a lot. So I've tried to keep away from it. So no, I haven't got past page 2, unfortunately. Joan says, I missed a question. Oh, is Harry passing his position on to James? I don't think so. I haven't heard of any passing of positions on. Oh, thank you, Kathy, who says I look fabulous. Thank you. Cookies and Cream says the Sussexes also reached out to the organisation, the Anti-Defamation League. I'm so proud of the Sussexes for using their position and platform to make a difference. Indeed. Sylvia says, did the UK papers mention the award for Edward Enninful from British Vogue won an award for Diversity Initiative of the Year, honouring Forces for Change? I think there was an article there, but it wasn't like a really big, huge story. But most definitely that Vogue issue last August, I think it was now. God, doesn't that seem a long time ago now? But also so quick. Things have like gone really slow, but also really, really quick. It was a massive, important issue, which of course Meghan was directly involved with. She was co-editing. So yes, it is, that news is out there, but it's not a huge story. Most of the stories on the news channels, for example, is still COVID related and that kind of thing. Catherine says, is Princess Diana laid to rest on Spencer Land? Yes. The island where she is in the private estate of Althorpe, and that is owned by the Spencer family. V says, I'm sure it's hard to read Lady C's book. I admire you. Try not to throw up. I will crack on with it at some point. But I need a bit of downtime from all the stress, basically. Kathy says, I love that the Sussexes are stepping up with Black Lives Matter. It thrills me. Southern Lady says, I'm sure it can be depressing reading all the negative articles and books. Pat says, read, research, review, and then report. You do a wonderful job, which is why so many depend for your accurate info. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate it. CD Lewis says, I would need a lot of downtime, so you can imagine how Harry and Meghan feel. Yes, I can. I most definitely can. Although I have to remember it's not aimed at me. it's aimed at them, a lot of it. Patricia says, but if it was some negative stupidity about Meghan, it would be in all the news, so it's not just could be taking space. I was on about TV, so a lot of the online stuff really is just gossipy. Really, the online articles are replacing what used to be, those really gossipy magazines that you find in supermarkets or whatever. The online version of that is all these little articles, and a lot of them are just trash. They really are just a complete load of rubbish, trash. They aren't really worth our time, but people read them, people talk about them. Doesn't mean people believe them, but people are reading them. It's entertainment, and I suppose that's one of the things that I don't like about how things have gone, is that royals are becoming a little bit like tabloid fodder. And I spoke, years ago saying, royals are not celebrities, which they aren't. It's a very different thing. But the way that people are treating the royals, they are treating them like celebrities. But it doesn't make them celebrities. Of course, they're well-known people, celebrated people, if you like. But the role of royals is different. Harry and Meghan, having stepped back, are moving more into that world as private citizens, although still members of the royal family. It's a weird position because I think people, like I say, are treating them as celebrities, but they still have that royal connection. Although not using HRH, Prince Harry is still Prince Harry, he's still a prince of the United Kingdom. Therefore, by very definition, Meghan is still technically a princess of the United Kingdom. They are still HRH, although not using that title. They are still the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. So it is a little bit odd, I suppose. We're in a bit of a kind of crossover period, I guess. Terry says, that is what dealing with constant negativity will do to you. Yeah, I felt it over the past couple of days, and I just needed a little bit of downtime, I think. Cookies and Cream says, Meghan's Vogue issue, is the fastest selling in the history of British Vogue. That's an amazing feat. The racist royal reporters created faux outrage and negative narrative about Meghan and Vogue. If I remember back to the time, was there anything particularly... I don't think people were necessarily negative about the article itself. I don't think anybody was outraged at it. I mean, Charles has done a magazine. Catherine appeared on the cover of a magazine. It wasn't a thing to be outraged about, if that makes sense. Zlee says, kudos for reading everything that I and others don't want to read, buy or touch without wanting to burn it. This is what I'm here for, but it can sometimes get to you. That's the thing. And then also, just because I was speaking about Lady Colin Campbell's book, some people didn't watch the whole video and thought I was promoting it, and I'm like, have you actually watched the video? Did you actually see did you actually listen to what I was saying about the book? I was saying that I found an inaccuracy already on page 2. That is in no way promoting the book. JJ says, good for you to take some downtime. Thank you. But I'm back. I'm back now. Oh, Terry says they implied she stole the idea from a Yes, I do remember that, yeah. They did say that. Patricia says, Camilla Tominey said it would backfire because she did that out of protocol and there weren't enough... What? Said it would backfire because she did that out of protocol. I'm not quite getting your point with that one. It's certainly... Well, let's put it this way. It didn't backfire. It didn't backfire on Meghan because it was the fastest selling issue ever. So regardless of what anyone said about it, it sold. It sold out completely. Dan... I'm just reading a comment here. Southern Lady said, Dan Wootton said royals don't edit magazines. Well, he was wrong because they do. Charles did. Charles has done the same thing. The monarch doesn't do that sort of thing, but Charles has done that. Merlene said Camilla Tominey said it was biased because there were only 5 white faces out of 15 on the cover. I think basically when you think back to that now, and you put that magazine in the context, if that magazine was out this August, definitely those reporters would not be saying the same thing, because in a way, it's like Meghan had a little bit, thinking back, it's like Meghan had a time capsule and she went forward, saw what was going to happen, and then went back and did it, because it was very preemptive of her to actually do that. I mean, I certainly don't think it was, no, it was about celebrating these women. And of course, Meghan wanted to shine a light on as many diverse women as she possibly could. But she also included 5 Caucasian women as well, which is perfectly fine. Kathy G says, does popularity equate to celebrity? Not with the royals, because you're either royal or you're not. With a celebrity, I suppose your celebrated status can be taken away if you're not popular, if you like. In other words, you can be cancelled. And with a royal, you can't really necessarily cancel them. Although, on saying that, Prince Andrew has done a very good job of cancelling himself. Although the royal family did nip him in the bud slightly. Whilst everything is going on regarding his ongoing legal entangle, shall we say. But no, you are royal. I mean, even if it came out where Prince Andrew was found guilty of something, he would still be royal, unless that was kind of stripped away by government. It would actually have to be by instrument of government to take that away. Is Harry back in London? I haven't heard anything about him being back in London. I highly doubt it. I would probably say he's still in LA. Right. Oh, one more question from Nancy. Does Harry and William have a relationship with their uncle Diana's brother? Again, that is a personal matter for Harry and William. It's not known, although to be able to go and visit Diana's gravesite, they would have to have kind of permission from her brother, the Earl Spencer. Do excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. I've done lots of speaking today, so my throat is dry and I need a cup of tea. So yeah, they would need permission for him to be able to set up access to it. And I think you can actually, there is like a temporary bridge that can be set up, or you can go by rowing boat over to the island. So arrangements would need to be made for them to visit. So I imagine that they would still have at least a cordial relationship with the Earl Spencer. But again, that's private and we are not party to that. Earl Spencer hasn't spoke about it, neither have William and Harry, or anyone else that I'm aware of. Louisa says, why is the maple leaf pin on... Oh no, it's just fell. It's just fell because of I'm wearing it on because it's come undone. It's actually come unclipped. So yeah, it's come unclipped. That's why it was on sideways. I'll leave it off. Right, okay, I am going to leave you now. I've had quite a bit of a catch up, so if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and also do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. Also, please do remember, of course, to subscribe to the channel. So, from me in Shropshire, mwah, to you all,